Making headlines. The president sends a message of condolence to the president of Turkey following an explosion that occurred at the ammunition factory in Balıkesir province. The Islamic Affairs Minister announces a significant humanitarian effort funded by the Maldives Zakat House to provide essential drinking water to Palestinians in Gaza. And the Islamic Affairs Ministry reminds local councils that non-Islamic practices are illegal in the country, urging the councils to be more vigilant.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to PSM News in English with me, Idham Naim. President Dr. Mohamed Moise sends a message of condolence to the President of Turkey following an explosion that occurred at an ammunition factory in Balıkesir province. In his message, the President expressed profound sadness upon learning of the explosion, which tragically claimed the lives of 12 individuals and left others injured. He offered condolences to the government and people of Turkey, particularly to the families of the bereaved and those injured. The President concluded the message expressing solidarity of the government and people of Maldives and wishing for a speedy recovery to all impacted by this tragedy. Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shahim Ali Said announces a significant humanitarian effort funded by the Maldives Zakat House to provide essential drinking water to the injured and those forced by Israel to endure severe humanitarian crisis in Gaza, Palestine.
The initiative to provide essential drinking water to Palestinians in Gaza comes amidst the ongoing Israeli offensive, which has inflicted severe hardships, created inhumane living conditions, and led to the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Gaza residents. Launched on 7th October 2023 by Israeli occupational forces, the offensive has displaced the majority of Gaza's 2.3 million inhabitants, further exacerbating the already dire situation. Minister Dr. Shahim stated that the drinking water funded by the Maldives Zakat Fund is being distributed with the assistance of the Qatari Red Crescent. In a social media post, the Qatar Red Crescent confirmed that its personnel have already distributed 6,000 cases of drinking water bottles to injured residents and patients at Al-Shifa and Al-Hayat hospitals. A total of 50,000 cases of drinking water bottles funded by the Zakat House of Maldives will be provided to over 60,000 individuals in Gaza. On 27 November, the Zakat House announced a commitment of $100,000 to assist Gaza residents who are enduring severe and appalling hardships due to the ongoing Israeli offensive. This initiative represents the first occasion on which the Zakat Fund resources are being utilized to provide humanitarian assistance internationally. The Maldives government has actively supported the Palestinian residents, particularly those blockaded in Gaza, by organizing fundraising events such as telethons. It has also initiated measures to prohibit the entry of individuals holding Israeli passports into the Maldives as a gesture of solidarity with the Palestinian people. Since the launch of the Israel's genocidal offensive on 7 October 2023, over 45,338 Palestinians have been killed, and more than 107,764 have been wounded, with most of the casualties being innocent women and children. Israel's offensive is being conducted in contravention of the international and humanitarian laws.
The Ministry of Islamic Affairs reminds local councils that non-Islamic practices are illegal in the country, urging the councils to be more vigilant. In a circular, the ministry urged all local councils to advise and inform expatriate workers, recruitment agencies, and tourism-related establishments to abide by local laws and regulations. The circular noted that it is the responsibility of such agencies that bring expatriates and tourists to Maldives to ascertain conformity of visitors to the Religious Unity Act. The law prohibits the practice by citizens of any religion other than Islam, while non-Muslim foreigners are banned from publicly practicing religious beliefs or religious congregations. Locals are also prohibited from engaging in any non-Muslim religious practices of any kind under the law. The ministry has asked guest houses operating in inhabited islands to advise foreign guests to abide by the law and social norms. Every year around the Christmas and New Year holidays, authorities are often forced to take actions against decorations and celebrations that violate the country's religious laws. Minister of Islamic Affairs Dr. Muhammad Shaheen Ali Said reveals that the administration plans to revise the Hajj quota allocation policy to prioritize first-time Hajj pilgrims or those who have never performed Hajj before. The number of individuals allowed to perform the Hajj pilgrimage each year is based on the quota provided to the Maldives by the government of Saudi Arabia.
In a social media post, Minister Dr. Shaheen highlighted that the Hajj policy of some countries is designed to give priority to first-time pilgrims. Explaining the matter, the minister said that in certain countries, individuals who have completed their first obligatory Hajj pilgrimage are granted another opportunity to perform Hajj after a period of 5 years. He added that the policy ensures that more first-time pilgrims have the opportunity to undertake the obligatory Hajj pilgrimage. The minister noted that the administration plans to adopt a similar policy in the Maldives to allow more first-time pilgrims to perform Hajj. He highlighted the necessity of consulting the public before implementing any changes to the Hajj quota policy and encouraged the public to share their feedback on the proposed revisions. Speaking with PSM News, Minister Dr. Shaheen confirmed that the ministry is actively working on revising the policy to prioritize first-time pilgrims and to allow those who have previously completed their pilgrimage to undertake Hajj again after a period of 5 years. The ministry will also seek the opinion of President Dr. Mohamed Moins before finalizing the policy changes. At present, the Hajj quota allocation policy in the Maldives gives precedence to the elderly and the infirm. However, it does not give precedence to individuals who have never performed Hajj. According to the current policy, those who finalize the payment of fees to the authorities are permitted to perform the Hajj pilgrimage, which has led to concerns among individuals who have yet to undertake their first Hajj. The Saudi Arabian government consistently allocates an annual quota of 1,000 for the Maldives. Previously, private Hajj tour operators, along with the Maldives Hajj Corporation, arrange Hajj pilgrimage with the official quota divided between them. However, under the current policy, the entire Hajj quota is now assigned to the Hajj Corporation to prevent private operators from charging exorbitant fees.
The Ministry of Tourism announces that the Maldives has reached a landmark achievement in its 52-year history of tourism, recording the highest number of tourist arrivals in a single year.
The Tourism Ministry stated that the country welcomed an impressive 1.97 million visitors this year. This number exceeds the previous record set in 2023, positioning the nation close to its goal of attracting over 2 million tourists this year. To meet this target, the Maldives needs to welcome an additional 22,748 visitors. Over the past 12 years, the Maldives has experienced steady growth in tourist arrivals. In 2013, the country received 1.12 million tourists, marking a 17.5% increase compared to 2012. This trend continued with 1.20 million visitors in 2014, a 7.1% increase over the previous year. The upward trajectory persisted with 1.23 million tourists in 2015, representing a 2.4% increment compared to 2014. In 2016, the Maldives gained a 4.2% increase, attracting over 1.28 million visitors. The following year, tourist arrivals rose to 1.38 million, which was an 8% increment compared to 2016. In 2018, the Maldives welcomed 1.48 million visitors, a 6.8% increase from the previous year. The year 2019 saw a significant boost with 1.70 million tourists, marking a 14.7% increase compared to 2018. However, in 2020, tourist arrivals dropped to 555,494 due to travel restrictions imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, representing a 67.4% decrease compared to 2019. In 2021, The Maldives experienced a strong recovery with 1.32 million visitors, a remarkable 138% increase compared to 2020. The positive trend continued in 2022 with 1.67 million tourists, a 26.7% increase over the previous year. In 2023, the Maldives welcomed 1.87 million visitors, a 12.1% increment compared to 2022. As of 23 December 2024, the country has welcomed 1.97 million visitors, a 9% increase over the total arrivals in 2023. The Tourism Ministry anticipates achieving the target of welcoming over 2 million tourists by Thursday. This surge in tourist numbers aligns with the administration's strategic efforts to promote and diversify the tourism sector.
The Central Bank Maldives Monetary Authority MMA figures shows that the Maldives tourism and construction sectors registered growth in the third quarter of this year.
MMS Economic Bulletin for Quarter 3 of this year showed that both the construction and the real estate sectors observed growth in annual terms during the quarter, posting growths of 1.6% and 7.1% respectively. However, the import of construction-related items registered an annual decline of 4%, while commercial bank credit to the construction sector registered an annual increase of 15% during the review quarter. The growth in commercial bank credit was mainly owing to the rise in credit provided for property development projects, credit lent for renovation of resorts, construction of residential or housing projects, real estate of residential or housing projects, and the construction of commercial buildings. According to MMA, total tourist arrivals increased in both annual and quarterly terms, with tourist arrivals posting an increase in the quarter relative to the corresponding period of 2023, driven mainly by the increase in arrivals from China and top source markets of Europe. Accordingly, tourist arrivals totaled 476,498 in Quarter 3 of 2024, registering a 10% growth when compared with the corresponding quarter of 2023. According to the report, one of the industries to post a decline is the fisheries sector. MMS said the activity in the fisheries sector is estimated to have contracted by 44.9% during Quarter 3 of 2024 in annual terms, following an annual decline of 50% in the DVA of the sector in Quarter 2 of 2024. MMS said that as for high-frequency indicators, considerable declines were observed in both fish purchases made by fish processing companies and the volume of fish exports during the review quarter. The quarterly economic bulletin is compiled by MMA to cover developments in the domestic and international economy during each quarter. The analyses are based on information provided by relevant government authorities, commercial banks operating in the country, public enterprises, and other private sector sources.
The Health Protection Agency HPA reveals that the collection, management, and analysis of data of people with cancer through a central cancer registry will be taken nationwide next year.
HPA's efforts to compile a cancer registry is currently concentrated in the capital, Malé City region. In that regard, HPA told PSM News that 1,474 people with cancer have been identified from the Malé region, adding that it hopes to wrap up the efforts by the end of the year. HPA said that the majority of people identified from the Malé region suffered from breast cancer, followed closely by lung, thyroid, and blood cancer. The agency said that it is planning to expand the data collection beyond the capital region next year, beginning with major hospitals in the atolls. It said that the efforts will then be expanded across the country. Despite the increase in number of cancer patients in the Maldives in recent years, no official data have been collected to date. In order to bridge the gap, HPA had launched efforts to compile a national cancer registry. Hulu Malé Hospital, the primary government facility for cancer treatment, has reported the highest number of cancer cases from Malé City, Addu City, Halif, Hadal, Shaviani, and Ra atolls. Major treatments for cancer patients are typically provided abroad, which is costly and burdensome for both patients and the government. Notably, non-communicable diseases (NCDs) account for 84% of deaths in the Maldives, with 17% attributed to cancer. The government has pledged to build a comprehensive cancer hospital in Maldives, with state-of-the-art facilities to address the lack of treatment available for cancer patients.
State-owned fisheries farm Maldives Industrial Fisheries Company Limited (MIFCO) says that payments to local fishermen are being processed well within 48 hours as pledged by President Dr. Mohamed Moise when the current administration took office in November last year. Arrears to local fishermen amounted to around USD 15 million. Despite some initial setbacks, this administration has gradually settled the arrears. On this year's Fishermen's Day, celebrated on 10th December, President Dr. Moise announced that the administration had now made arrangements to settle payments to fishermen within 48 hours. True to the President's pledge, MIFCO told PSM News that it is now depositing payments to fishermen well within 48 hours, adding that sometimes payments are settled even on the same day. MIFCO highlighted the assistance and cooperation from the Ministry of Fisheries and Ocean Resources along with the Bank of Maldives BML in the efforts. Japan's Nippon Steel's president Tadashi Imai told reporters that the steel-making company is seeing support for its proposal to acquire U.S. steel in the regions of the United States where steel mills are located.
The Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States told the White House that it is unable to reach a consensus on national security risks involved in Nippon Steel's bid for U.S. steel. It referred the decision whether to approve or block the $15 billion deal to U.S. President Joe Biden, who has 15 days to decide. Both Biden and President-elect Donald Trump have said that they oppose the purchase deal, which Nippon Steel announced last December. Nippon Steel's president reiterated that the company has made a number of commitments to address national security concerns of the Committee on Foreign Investments in the United States, adding that he believed that there was progress in understanding. Both companies have previously said that they had planned to close the deal, which has also faced opposition from a powerful, the United Steelworkers Labor Union (USW), before the end of 2024. USW said in a separate statement that it met Nippon Steel officials twice last week. It repeated its view that the Japanese steelmaker had no interest in the long-term security of U.S. steel plants or blast furnace operations and urged Biden to keep the company domestically owned and operated. According to the Washington Post, the Committee on Foreign Investments in the U.S. said that allowing Nippon Steel to take over the U.S. steel could result in a lower domestic steel production, representing a national security risk. In order to win support for the acquisition, Nippon Steel had previously said it will not use the deal as a cover to import steel and has made a series of pledges to protect jobs and invest in U.S. facilities it sees as key to its future growth.
Kazakh authorities announced that an Embraer passenger plane flying from Azerbaijan to Russia crashed near the city of Aktau in Kazakhstan with 62 passengers and 5 crew on board, saying that 32 people had survived.
Kazakhstan's Emergencies Ministry said in a statement that fire services had put out the blaze and that the survivors, including 2 children, were being treated at a nearby hospital. The bodies of the dead were being recovered. Drone footage shows numerous emergency service vehicles operating on sites as well as apparent remains of bodies of the victims. Azerbaijan Airlines said that Embraer 190 jet with flight number J28243 was flying from Baku to Grozny in southern Russia, but had been forced to make an emergency landing around 3 kilometers, about 1.8 miles from Aktau in Kazakhstan. Aktau is on the opposite shore of the Caspian Sea from Azerbaijan and Russia. Commercial aviation tracking websites tracked the flight flying north on its scheduled route along with the west coast of the sea before its flight path was no longer recorded. It then reappeared on the opposite east coast where it circled near Aktau airport before crashing into the beach. Authorities in Kazakhstan said a government commission had been set up to investigate what had happened, and its members ordered to fly to the site and ensure that the families of the dead and injured were getting the help they needed. The government said that Kazakhstan would cooperate with Azerbaijan on the investigation. Russia's aviation watchdog said in a statement that preliminary information suggested that the pilot had decided to make an emergency landing after a bird strike. Russian president expressed his condolences, as did the president of Azerbaijan, who had decided to return home from Russia, where he had been due to attend a summit today.
That's it for now. Thank you for watching PSM News. Have a good day.
Mammati asli mage dammartiye aliko ding mage
الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدًا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله اللهم رب هذه الدعوة التامة والصلاة القائمة آت محمدًا الوسيلة والفضيلة والدرجة الرفيعة وبعثه مقامًا محمودًا الذي وعدته وارزقنا شفاعته برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله وصحبه وسلم والحمد لله رب العالمين.